What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video we have part 1 of the Great League Battle of Spies, featuring 12 of the spiciest and most insane battles you are likely ever going to see in the Go Battle League. Now, I will be aiming to get part 2 out tomorrow, but there are quite a few of you that have not given me access to view your submissions, so if you've entered the competition and you do not see your battle featured in this video, please double check your emails to see if I've requested access, and hopefully I will be able to feature your battle in tomorrow's video. With that being said, let's just get straight into the question of the day. What is the spiciest Pokemon you have battled against in the Go Battle League this season? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. We're heading into the first battle, leading with a level 50 Shadow Alolan Geodude into a Drapion. We're going to stay in this matchup, and Geodude has access to Rock Tomb. However, we're actually going to no-shield the first move. Aqua Tail does big damage, but we can now fire off the Rock Tomb here. Rock Tomb is going to be shielded by the Shadow Drapion, and the opponent going to fire off another charge move straight away. At this point, we're just going to let the Aqua Tail take us out there. We are going to come in with Shadow Scepter, and you can see we do have Earthquake 4 coverage. We're definitely going to shield here. We've debuffed their attack. However, these Poison Stings are going to hit for super effective damage. We're now full sending the Earthquake here up against the Drapion. Earthquake gets the KO there, and the opponent comes in with a Kanto Marowak. So at this point, probably very weak to the Grass typing in the back. We throw on CMP. Leaf Blade grabs the final shield, and we are going to put it all on our level 51 best buddy boosted 100% IV Shadow Trico for this end game. We are going to shield this up here. Trico not got a lot of bulk, so gonna shield up the resisted charge move. The opponent tries to catch a move there, but we hold onto the energy, going straight for Grass Knot. Grass Knot does huge damage there. That is actually insane up against Azumarill. We then throw on CMP, winning CMP, going for Grass Knot number 2, getting the KO there, and we are able to outpace this Marowak in this matchup, going for Grass Knot number 3, getting the KO, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, and we've got a sort of trio of balls of fire, I guess. We are going to lead into Skeledirge, and we are going to no-shield the opponent base with a Torch Song. Huge call for us. Now going for a Rock Tomb, so they've just boosted up their attack. We're going to debuff it straight away with the Rock Tomb, and the opponent swaps into Azumarill. This is absolutely awful for us, but we just barely hang on and reach a second Rock Tomb. This is absolutely vital for us. It doesn't do too much damage there, but it debuffs their attack. We now come in with an Ember, and we are going to no-shield the opponent base with an Ice Beam. Huge call there, expecting a bait, and now we can fire off a Rock Slide. Now, Rock Slide, not going to do much damage, but it does grab a shield from the opponent. The opponent might be very weak to fire in the back, so at this point, we are going to no-shield once again, put it all onto Shadow Dalmanitan here to sweep this end game, and the opponent gonna throw on alignment that is literally perfect for us. We get a full Incinerate in for free. The opponent swaps back into Skeledirge. We don't throw a charge move. They come back in with a Azumarill, and they do reach a last second move here, so unfortunately gonna have to use our final shield, but now all shields are down on the opponent's end. Oh, sorry, nope, never mind, they've still got one shield, but it doesn't matter. Overheat grabs the final shield, and now we can full send Overheat number 2. We've just debuffed our attack. It does not matter. Overheat number 2 gets the one shot, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, leading right on into Clodsire. So this is a fairly good matchup for us. We are going to see the opponent going to stay in initially, then swapping, catching a Breaking Swipe onto Feraligatr. So Breaking Swipe, going to be no-shielded. It drops their attack, and now we swap into Stantler. Stantler, of course, normal type Pokemon, going to double resist the Shadow Claw damage. That Hydro Cannon still does quite a lot of damage, despite being, of course, debuffed there, but we can fire off a Stomp. Stomp, going to grab a shield from the Feraligatr. So at this point, we're going to match shield here as the opponent fires off the Hydro Cannon, and we are committing to a full Tackle Farm Down. We are able to get the Tackle Farm Down there, and they come in with a Mandibuzz. Now here we're actually going to go for a bait, maybe expecting the opponent to just not shield any moves that we throw, so now we can full send the Wild Charge. They are looking to fully farm us down, but Wild Charge gonna do huge damage. We then swap into Rhydon, hoping to maybe just mud slap farm them down here, but unfortunately not going to be the case. The opponent does bank some energy, but they swap back into Clodsire. We go straight for Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe, gonna be no-shielded, and likewise, we're gonna no-shield the opponent base with a Stone Edge, and they instantly recognize that was a mistake, and so they just concede the match. Into next battle, we've got a triple shadow team here. We've got the barrel into Jumpluff now. The entire team a little bit awkward up against Jumpluff. So we're going to say in this matchup, we are going to no shield. And acrobatics nearly one-shots us, but we barely hang on. We can't reach a Hyper Fang. Hyper Fang gonna grab a shield from the opponent. We can now come in with Shadow Beedrill, hitting for super effective poison jab damage whilst resisting the fairy winds. But of course, aerial ace and acrobatics gonna hit for super effective damage. We're gonna swap into Butterfree and the opponent coming in with their Guzzlord here. We're gonna no shield this. Dragon Claw does quite a lot of damage, and Butterfree actually does not even reach a charge move. That is definitely disappointing, but we come in with the Shadow Beedrill, and I've just seen we're actually on Fellstinger, so Fellstinger boosts up our attack. This is our final Pokemon, so we're gonna stay boosted for the remainder of this battle. They come in with Feraligatr, and they actually make a catch onto Jumpluff. But that's okay with us. Fellstinger now puts them into range where we can Poison Jab, farm them down. And we're going to go for another Fellstinger straight away into Feraligatr coming back in. Fellstinger going to grab the final shield there. And now we can just commit to a full Poison Jab farm down. We are double boosted. The opponent fires off the Hydro Cannon. We get that Poison Jab farm down. And we're able to take that game. Into next battle, we're going to lead with a Cubone into Morpeko. Great lead for us. The opponent safe swaps into a Bullet Seed Jumpluff. So this is a really good matchup for the Vullaby. We are going to no shield the first charge move. They go for Energy Ball there for some reason. Don't really understand why, but they actually drop out of fence, which is definitely frustrating. Maybe that was the play there. Fishing for a debuff, and now they can go for Aerial Aces, and they're going to hit quite a bit harder now that they have debuffed out of fence. So maybe that was actually a 5-head play by the opponent there. But either way, we should still be able to tank this. So the opponent fires off another Aerial Ace there, and we are going to see the opponent then swaps into Toxapex. Unfortunately, not really able to react in time, so we go for the foul play there. It would have been lovely to go for a Brave Bird, but now we can come in with the Cubone and potentially get a lot more farm here. But either way, we go for Dig. Dig doesn't do too much damage there, but we can now shield this up and commit to a full Mud Slap farm down, and we're going to come out with a ton of loaded energy. The opponent actually comes back in with more Morpeko for some reason. That is a really strange decision, but we go for Bone Club, grab the final shield. The opponent fires off a charge move. Are they on Seed Bomb? We're going to shield just to respect it anyways. And the opponent goes for the bait there. They then swap back into Jumpluff, and we're going to come in with a Swablu, a level 50 Swablu. Of course, all shields are down. They go for Energy Ball once again. I don't really understand that decision, but now we're just going to overfarm in this matchup here. The opponent fires off another Energy Ball. That is resisted damage. Trainer, what are you doing? We're going to go for a Disarming Voice. We farmed up to back-to-back. Disarming Voice gets the KO. We can now go for another Disarming Voice into Morpeko coming in. Disarming Voice does not get the KO, but we can just come in with the Cubone, go for that combo play, and Bone Club easily takes out Morpeko, and we're able to take that game. Into next battle, we've got a trio of long neck boys here, leading with Shadow Giraffe Rig on Double Kick as the fast move, going straight for Trailblaze. Trailblaze gonna hit for super effective damage. It boosts up our attack, and now we can safely shield once and go for a full Double Kick farm down if the opponent stays in this matchup, which they do exactly that. So at this point, they're gonna come in with Amanda Buzz. We're actually gonna go for a Psychic Fangs here. Not really sure if I would go for this here, but we're gonna swap out straight away into Aurorus, and the opponent actually choosing to stay in this matchup. That is a very strange decision. They must be core broken by the Aurora. So at this point, we are going to probably no shield this. The opponent just goes for a foul play, and the opponent is eventually going to swap out into a Tentacruel. So that is why they stayed in with the Mandibuzz. They needed that chip damage here. Tentacruel, of course, also going to hit for resisted fast move pressure. They do shield up the Meteor Beam. We're definitely just going to respect the damage here. The opponent full sends a Scald, not going for the Acid Spray, and now we overfarm in this matchup, firing off Meteor Beam number 2. Meteor Beam gets the KO there. They come back in with the Mandibuzz. We're going to overfarm just slightly, fire off the Weather Ball, and of course, Weather Ball boosted gets the KO there, and we're able to take that game. Into next battle, and we've got a triple Stardust team, like Pokemon that give way more Stardust than usual Pokemon. By the way, that ELO range is not correct. That's just what they selected on the form. They're actually at like rank 12 or something, so I guess that wasn't an option on the form, but in the voting, I will change it so that it is accurate. But either way, we're going to see, unfortunately, Audino pretty bulky actually, but unfortunately really bad fast moves. I think this one is running Zen Headbutt, so that is going to be double resisted and just probably the worst fast move in the game anyways. So unfortunately, not doing much here, but we do have Disarming Voice to hit for super effective damage. We're going to tank another Dark Pulse there, and the opponent swaps into Superior. So we're going to come in with a shiny Vespiquen, very nice flex. The opponent fires off the Aerial Ace. You can see we will tank 2 Aerial Aces fairly comfortably, and of course these Vine Whips are going to be double resisted. Excuse me there. We're going to go for an X-Scissor. X-Scissor is going to grab a shield from the opponent. X-Scissor number 2 grabs both shields from the opponent, and they are going to fire off another charge move. Of course, going to go for another Aerial Ace here, and before possibly swapping back into the Umbreon, but X-Scissor still going to hit for super effective damage. So X-Scissor is going to get the Umbreon incredibly low. We then swap into our Aldino. We're going to fire off the Disarming Voice here, and of course, from this range, it gets the KO, but the opponent can come back in with their Superior, go for the full Vine Whip farm down. We are not at a charge move on the Vespiquen, so we actually come in with the Chime Echo, and we can reach a Side Shock before the opponent throws a move. We get the KO there, and that should be game over. They come back in with Galarian Weezing. I think that was a CMP tie. We're just going to shield play it safe. They go for Sludge. We can now fire off the Side Shock, and Side Shock, super effective. It gets the KO there, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we've got Shadow Ampharos in the lead up against a Shadow Drapion. Now, unfortunately, with the typical moveset here, all of our charge moves are going to be resisted, but we are going to no-shield this move. They fire off the Crunch. We're now going for a Brutal Swing, and they're possibly going to look to swap out of this matchup. We've got 2 Pokemon that do at least resist the Poison Sting damage. However, Shadow Tyranitar going to take super effective from an Aqua Tail, and it will do big damage, but they actually go for a Crunch there for some reason. That is a strange decision. Maybe not on Aqua Tail, I don't know. But either way, we bait out Azumarill, we go for Stone Edge, and the opponent does not overfarm. So that's huge for us. We can just no-shield this. We've dealt big damage. We put them into range where, assuming we're running Trailblaze on our Shadow Scizor, we should be able to get the KO. And we're actually on Fury Cutter. So Shadow Scizor not going to be a spicy Pokemon for very long, because next season it's getting 2 buffs, both to Fury Cutter and Bullet Punch, which should make it a top meta threat. But at the moment, not the best Pokemon, so we're going for back-to-back Trailblazes. Trailblaze does huge damage. We are now double boosted. We're definitely gonna shield here as the opponent fires off the Fire Punch. They swap back into Drapion, and we're barely not able to get the farm down, but very nice catch there. Catching Aqua Tail onto our Shadow Ampharos. We get the Fury Cutter farm down, and now we need to reach back-to-back Night Slashes. It's going to be incredibly close here, but Night Slash number 1 grabs the final shield, and we do get there in time. Night Slash number 2 will be enough damage to take out the Diggersby. We get the unnecessary Night Slash boost there, and we take that game. Into the next battle, we're going to see a Shadow Aggron into Jumpluff. A great lead matchup for us, of course. Typically, Jumpluff these days don't even run Edgeable, but this one is running it. So, unfortunately, that does hit for neutral damage, but they are core broken by this Shadow Aggron. We can go straight for the Meteor Beam. They do not respect the damage. We boost up our attack, and they come in with a Shadow for Alligator. So, we swap out straight away into our Shadow Grovyle, going straight for Leaf Blade, grabbing a shield from the opponent, and the opponent is going to fire off just before we reach Leaf Blade number 2. They go for Hydro Cannon. We're actually going to go straight for Leaf Blade here, not allowing the opponent to swap out and make a catch. Leaf Blade grabs the final shield, and the opponent will just barely throw before we do reach Leaf Blade number 3. At this point, we're going to no-shield this. We're going to come in with our Shadow Vibrava, and they do reach a last-second charge move. And by the way, this is another 100% IV level 50 Shadow Pokemon, which is really cool to see. You can see we try to get to the Bug Buzz, unfortunately not making it in time. So we swap, we catch the Energy Ball onto Jumpluff, onto our Aggron. Now we can full send the Bug Buzz. Bug Buzz gets the KO. We can Dragon Breath, farm down for Alligator, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, we've got a triple cat team here with Delcatty in the lead, I believe on Feint Attack, at least not running Charm here, which is very nice to see. I'm not a big fan of Charm, as you guys will probably know. And once again, this is going to be another battle where they are not in this ELO range. They're just below rank 20, so they've just selected it as it is the lowest option. But either way, I will be correcting that in the voting form. But either way, we're going to go for a full farm down and come out with a Darkest Lariat loaded. We're going straight for it, and it is going to be shielded, unfortunately. But the opponent comes back in with Ice Fang for Alligator, which is interesting to see. Hydro Cannon gets the KO there. We can come in with our Delcatty, and Delcatty does have access to Wild Charge, but we might not want to debuff ourselves, so we're going to go for a Disarming Voice bait. I don't believe this will KO, but it does grab the final shield, and we force the opponent to throw their energy. So at this point, putting all of our faith into Torracat with 2 shields, and we are going to come in. The opponent swaps into Annihilate, and unlike its evolution, this is not a dark type Pokemon, so only taking neutral damage from the counters. We go for Flame Charge, boosting up our attack. We are definitely going to shield this, and the opponent goes for a Night Slash there, but they actually get the attack boost, which is definitely not ideal for us. But it will not matter here, as Torracat should now have enough energy to reach a Crunch, and of course we are boosted. This is for Alligator. Crunch will be enough damage to take out for Alligator. We even grab a screenshot there as we take the win, and we take that game. Now into the next battle, we've got a triple electric team here leading into Morpeko, and I think that Morpeko might be on Charge Beam as the fast move. I'm not entirely sure, but it does look a bit strange here. We are either way going to go straight for a Rock Blast, and Rock Blast is going to grab a shield from the Morpeko, and yeah, they are definitely on Charge Beam. That is not ideal. I definitely would recommend going for Thunder Shock there, but either way, we shield up again. Unfortunately, they do bait with a Psychic Fangs, but they swap into Credilli, and we're on Focus Blast. We are full sending it, and Focus Blast gets the one shot there. The opponent now comes in with a Jump Bluff, and we should be able to tank this. It's just going to be an Aerial, so of course resisted damage doesn't do much there. We're now committing to another Focus Blast, but actually we don't get off the charge move at all. I don't really understand what happened there. We should have won CMP, but either way, we're going to come in with our Shadow Zapdos. This game is certainly not over. We can fire off the Drill Peck. Drill Peck going to be no shielded. It does big damage. They do actually hang on, but at this point we're also going to no shield. We resist everything. We're going to swap straight away into our Alolan Golem, and we can just no shield this now. The opponent just going to go for another Psychic Fangs there, which we're able to tank. We're going to fire off a last second Rock Blast here. Rock Blast going to grab the final shield, and actually we can get a simultaneous KO. Come in with the Zapdos, get the farm down, so the opponent concedes the match. Now into the final battle of this video, leading with a shiny Galarian Articuno into Blastoise. So we are definitely going to shield, respect the damage from a Hydro Cannon. We're going to bait with an Ancient Power here. Ancient Power would not do much damage whatsoever, but it does grab a shield from the opponent, and now we can full send the Brave Bird here. Brave Bird is unfortunately going to be shielded once again, so we swap into our Snorlax, and the opponent comes in with a Defense Form Deoxys. Not a very popular Pokemon these days. It used to be top meta, but of course with the counter nerf it's just no longer as great. But either way, we're going straight for Outrage. Outrage does big damage, and these licks will actually put them into range where we can probably lock on farm them down here. If you did not know, Defense Deoxys has a huge defense stat, but a really low HP stat, so we come in and we get that lock on farm down. Huge for us. We come out with a ton of energy, as of course we are Regice. We gain energy incredibly fast with those lock-ons. They do go for a Skull Bash, but it doesn't matter. We've got access to Thunder. Thunder gets the KO, and their final Pokemon gonna be a Clodsire. They do reach a charge move, but this will just be a Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb does not get the KO, and this is Shadow Regice. We're going for the Blizzard. Blizzard gets the one shot there. We take out the Clodsire, and we're able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated, and with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.